Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on the topic Dynamic Remarketing, General Overview and Best Practices. Before we start with today's presentation, let us briefly introduce ourselves. My name is Tina.
And my name is Haris. If you've tuned last time for our Hangouts on Air, we were your hosts for the Mobile Masterclass Volume 1 and 2.
And if you didn't, please let us welcome you today. And we are really hoping that you're going to find this webinar useful. And if you have any questions at the beginning, please drop us a line and we'll come back to you. So basically today, as I said, we are presenting Dynamic Remarketing, which is very broad and advanced advertising feature within the AdWords. Given the fact of the lack of the merchant center in our region, we've decided to shift the focus today on the so-called custom feed. So meaning that we'll basically present you the main features and also touch upon implementation about the custom feed. And this can be useful for you guys if you have certain e-commerce businesses, or basically if your business model does not fall into pre-made, let's say, flights or rentals, hotels, and different kind of verticals. So let's get started with today's agenda.
Okay, so as Tina said, welcome to Dynamic Remarketing. I'm going to present the agenda as a start. So number one, we're going to be talking about dynamic remarketing and the prerequisites to have and set up remarketing. That is dynamic remarketing. Next on our agenda would be to talk about the differences between dynamic remarketing versus the static or standard remarketing as you know it. Next, we'll go on to the campaign setup. That is the general setup that you need to know in regards to creating dynamic remarketing. Of course, during this time, we'll also be talking about setting up the feeds and about tagging your website. Also mentioning feeds, we'll be talking about the custom feed, as Tina mentioned earlier, and we'll also talk about the custom parameters that you need to have in order to set up these custom feeds. Also, I'll be talking about the audiences for dynamic remarketing. So this will be, in fact, all the automatically generated remarketing lists that the system will generate for you once you create your dynamic remarketing campaign. And finally, Tina will mention the best practices to have while making the campaign, and also once you have completed and made your dynamic remarketing.
Yes, so basically, thank you, Haris, for announcing the agenda.
No props.
Let's just get started. So dynamic remarketing, as you might know, it's an advanced type of remarketing that you can use to reach your past website visitors with dynamically created ads. These ads show specific products or services that visitors viewed on your website, whether that is a home page, category page, product, or cart view, let's say. Furthermore, dynamic remarketing lets you show remarketing ads for content or products that are most likely to be of interest for your user based on the content and products that are viewed on your site, related content and products, and as well as their purchase histories and the demographics. So when user browse content, research product, or follow ads for specific products on the site, but leave without converting, you can use dynamic remarketing to make related and relevant content. Also the products that are visible to them again, and they visit other sites, let's say later on while browsing on the different sites on the Google display network. You can easily drive conversions that already have some momentum behind them. And later on, you can also follow up with the same users who have already converted. These users who are already favorably disposed towards your products might be easily influenced to purchase that additional products they have already considered. And as we mentioned before, there are also certain prerequisites for the dynamic remarketing. And we would like to mention these three main prerequisites that are including the product or service feed, tagging your website with the custom parameters, and eventually creating the dynamic ads that will be shown to your users, to your visitors. So first, let us touch upon the product or service feed. So basically, you have to create a feed that includes all the products or services, along with all the details about each of them. Let's say that's a unique ID, the price of your product, the image of your product, and many more that are depending on the different vertical that you are using, or your business model basically is. So these details are pulled in from the so-called feed into your dynamic ads, and you'll upload your feed to the business data section of your shared library, but Haris will speak about this like more in detail. Okay, so basically, secondly, what's really important in what is a prerequisite in order to enable dynamic remarketing, it's tagging your website with a so-called custom parameters. So basically, you'll need to add a dynamic remarketing tag with custom parameters to all pages of your website, and this tends to be sometimes a little bit confusing because you're not tagging all the pages on your website, but it is really important that you place a tag on all the pages. The tag adds your website visitors to the remarketing list, and later on associates them with the unique IDs, as mentioned before, of the feed that the items were viewed before. So you will find your tag in the audience sector in your shared library, but we'll also mention this later on. Lastly, of course, the dynamic ads that are going to be shown to your users while browsing different sites on the Google Display Network. And these dynamic ads are using layout in numerous sizes and formats for modern platforms, including HTML5, also for mobile devices. And you can create the dynamic ads in the ad gallery. So basically, as you might know, there is two different remarketing options. So today we are speaking about dynamic remarketing, but there is also so-called static or standard remarketing. So while remarketing allows you to show ads to people who have previously visited your website or used your mobile app, dynamic remarketing takes it one step further, let's say, and it lets you to show previous visitor ads that contain specific products or services that have been viewed on your site. So the messages are tailor-made to your audiences, and thus dynamic remarketing helps you build leads and sales by bringing previous visitors back to your site to complete what they've started, ideally. So the non-dynamic remarketing relies on an audience based on the dimensions and metrics that describe and measure user behavior on your site, and also include user attributes like age, gender, and interests. But with dynamic remarketing, when you update your pages with the tag-specific attributes that collect additional information, you can further refine audiences based on those attributes. For example, also if you use Google Analytics for this purpose, Analytics can collect things like the IDs of the product that user interacts with on the, let's say, retail websites. With updated tagging and with the corresponding attributes available in AdWords, you can then create audiences to whom you can serve personalized remarketing ads. And this is the main advantage of the dynamic remarketing. Ads get really personalized given the previous visits of your products on the website. And the content of the ad is based on the data that Analytics captures. Let's say if the user viewed a specific product on your site, then you can show those users a remarketing ad for that specific product, as I said, or related, let's say, top performing product. Okay, let's move forward. And here you will see some sort of diagram of how really remarketing works, as we really try to simplify it for you guys, just that you can better visualize it, to put it that way, and have some general overview of how the dynamic remarketing works. So anonymous user, let's say, visits a client or your, in this case, website that contains an AdWords remarketing tag. We said this is a prerequisite, so basically the remarketing tag, which includes specific customer parameter, has to be previously added on your all pages of your website. And let's say that same anonymous user is visiting a camera on your product page, and then the remarketing tag sets, or let's say collects a cookie and passes those dynamic parameters to our servers. While passing the parameters to the servers, it is taking into consideration the code, basically, which includes certain parameters as item ID, item ID2, page type, total value, etc. But we'll speak about this more in depth later on. So Google collects the cookie ID and all these custom parameters like property view, page type, and total value. And then afterwards, the lists are created based on these parameters, or example, property viewers. Furthermore, the visitor who already visited your web page, the cookie has been placed, now goes to a different publisher page on the so-called Google Display Network, or how we call it, GDN. And they are then on the remarketing list that it's linked to the clients, or yours in this case, dynamic remarketing campaign in the AdWords. So basically using the item ID that the user, that is in the user's cookie, AdWords connect the same product, the same service that it has been viewed, connects it to the feed, and pulls the matching data for these particular users. So a dynamic remarketing ad that contains a specific product the user had been viewing gets displayed to this user. So as we said previously, this is the main, I would say, advantage of the dynamic remarketing versus static remarketing, that you really get to show the tailor-made, personalized content based on the products that have been previously viewed. This means that this particular anonymous user has more tendency to convert. There are we think quite simple steps for creating the dynamic remarketing. So just as a quick overview, basically the first step is that you have to create a feed. Obviously, we said in this case for the custom feed, because we don't have the merchant center or any other kind of feed, depending on your business model, on your vertical. Second, and I would say the most important, properly tagging your site. If you already have remarketing tag placed on your website, so let's say standard remarketing tag, you will need to add these extra parameters, as we mentioned already, so-called custom parameters. And as the feed is added and the tag placed on your website, the remarketing lists are being created, but we'll speak about this later on. Automated, we said the remarketing lists. And for the very end, you have to choose the right layout and basically create ads for your past visitors. Yeah.
It's very important to mention that these 4 steps are pretty automated, which means like this wasn't implemented in our previous AdWords platforms. So now pretty much when you create a campaign, you are taken step by step into creating your feed, tagging your website, and once you've done those things, you later on review your automatically made remarketing lists, and also finally you get to choose your layouts, which means you pretty much have certain layouts made already for your ads, and it's pretty easy for you to choose which ones you think would go best with your business.
Exactly. Let's move on, right?
Yep.
To the campaign setup.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that we're gonna.
Okay, so creating a campaign, it's pretty simple. It's pretty much as you would do with any other campaign. You go into AdWords, you click on that plus campaign red button, And then you, of course, have to select the right type of the campaign. So it pretty much has to be display network only. Once you select as the type of your campaign, display network only, you have to choose a marketing objective. And this marketing objective is usually buy on your website. Of course, here you'll be able to see that this includes remarketing. So yeah, once you click on the drive action or the marketing objective, you can then scroll down to the bottom of your to the bottom of the step of creating the campaign, and you will see additional options or additional settings that you can create or add onto your campaign. And when you click on these additional settings, you will find another, let's say, a drop-down menu. It's pretty much a few other links where you will see dynamic ad settings. Once you click on dynamic ad settings, you will see these two options that you will have to select. So first of all, you will have to click on use dynamic ads. Because of course this is necessary for setting up dynamic remarketing, and then we have to choose the business type, which is the custom feed, custom feed that we'll have to eventually make later. So as I said, once you select your business type, you will then see a blue button which says set up remarketing. Once you click on that, you will be taken to this what you see on the presentation. So this is pretty much the system asking you to create your feed. And of course, if you don't have a lot of experience with coding, it of course would be also good to include your programmer or web developer into helping you with this. And of course, you have these options to do so. You can send let's say, instructions immediately to your web developer or programmer to set up your feed alongside with your help, of course. So it's important to say that this feed that the system is automatically creating for you is pretty much a feed placeholder, which is created in your business data. Of course, business data is located in your shared library. This business data, this feed has to be actually customized by you, which means that you will have to add the necessary information in terms of, let's say, the final URL and all the other specifics of the products that you wish to include in your dynamic remarketing. Next, I'd like to talk about creating and uploading this new custom feed. So you pretty much have two options in terms of downloading this CSV file, which will help you and give you all the necessary information in terms of adding the information that you need for a successful custom feed, which you will be later using for your dynamic remarketing. So the first option where you can download this is through the AdWords Help Center. But also you are able to download this in the shared library or the business data. When you go into business data in your shared library, you'll be able to click on the plus data sign. And when you select the option to create your dynamic feeds, you will see a small link which says that you can download the CSV file. So as I said, once you download this file, you can fill in all the relevant data of your products, which is like, let's say, the ID, the item title, price, image URL, final URL, and so forth. Once you've done this, you go on to uploading this new custom feed to your business data in the shared library. And finally, if you wish to do so, you can set up schedule uploads. So the system can automatically, let's say, upload your CSV files or your feeds on a daily, weekly, or a monthly basis.
Okay, basically, before we continue, I would just like to add something, because we quite often have these questions: when will my feed be reviewed? It's still pending review, etc. It's the same case as with the ads. Basically, we have more or less 3 days for feed to be reviewed. And I would also like to emphasize that you should make sure that your campaign is already created and your ads are already enabled and approved. Unless this is done, your feed won't be reviewed. So just make sure that also prior to creating the ads, and also that you don't collect any personal and sensitive information about users. So it's very important to follow our advertising policies. And as I said, as a tip, make sure that your campaign it's enabled, that you've already set up a budget for this campaign, that the ads are approved, and only then the feed can go through the reviewing process. And this usually takes, we said like a 3 business days.
Usually.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we also thank you here for your patience, because everything is fully automated, and basically system need time to go through all the feeds and approve it.
Yeah, sure.
So I just wanted to add this.
Sure. Okay, so next we go into talking about how it's pretty simple to actually add these feeds and create these feeds in the new revamped business data platform in AdWords. So as mentioned before, you can create and manage feeds at the account level in AdWords. You can also create specific feed schemes or schemas available for key industries. So as you can see in the presentation, this goes on for education, flights, hotels, jobs, and so on and so forth. Also, we have support a variety of file types. So this is CSV, TSV, XLS, and XLS. We have one more time. I believe it's XLVS in this case.
It might be, so it's most likely a typo. Sorry for this.
Next, we go on to the easiness of the ability of editing feed data in AdWords. We have also data ingestion error reporting, which means that pretty much if you have made a mistake in your data feed, the system will automatically tell you pretty much where this mistake is and how to fix it. Also, it's pretty much the automated feed management through the AdWords API in the end. So I think.
Yes, I think it's my turn again, because before we mentioned that it's very important that you look up your remarketing tag, which can be easily found within your trade library audience. You will be prompted to the setup on the right upper corner, and you can basically retrieve your remarketing tag yourself, or you can enter the email address of the person who is taking care of your website. In most cases, this is your webmaster. So if you, Haris, can
Sure.
continue with the next slide. Basically, the most important part for the dynamic remarketing tag to work, it's to properly insert the custom parameters. So to show your dynamic ads to people who have visited your site, you have to add dynamic remarketing tag with all the custom parameters to your website. And basically, as we said at the beginning, today we are focusing on the custom feed. Thus, the code that you see on your screen, it is pre-made for the custom feed. So please bear in mind that the green parts that we highlighted are required parameters. So the item ID, it's required. The 3 other parameters are recommended, and we highly encourage you to use all like three other requirements or recommended basically parameters. So the item ID 2, the page type, and the total value, meaning the price of your product. So the dynamic remarketing tag, as you might know, collects different data such as the IDs of the products or services that people viewed on your website, the type of pages viewed, such as search page or product type page, or even like one step further, shopping cart pages, and also includes the total values, as I mentioned before, meaning the price of your product. The AdWords system can use this data to remind people to take the actions. And the custom parameters are the only way, basically, to dynamically send values to your AdWords account based on information on the page, such as product ID. And these custom parameters can have multiple values for dynamic remarketing, and you'll need to use the required custom parameters at a minimum. So basically, the green, the highlighted green part, dynamic X underscore item ID, it's required. 3 others are recommended, but we highly encourage you to use these as well. There are also some formatting tips for your custom parameter, such as to use single or double quotes for string custom parameter, or basically don't use quotes for numerical custom parameters, or it's important to separate parameters with commas. But I believe that your webmasters would be more familiar with this, as they have really technical background. So all the information and instructions can be found within our help center, right?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah.
So next, I'll also mention this. It's very important to mention it. Besides just tagging your website through the tag that you can find on AdWords, you can also add the tag via Google Analytics. And of course, as we have probably mentioned before at the beginning of our presentation, we'll also be having a volume 2 of how to set up dynamic remarketing, and we'll go into more detail about this in volume 2.
Exactly.
So once you've added your feeds and once you've tagged your website, you will then be able to review your lists. And so these are pretty much the remarketing lists that the system has automatically created for you. And as you can see here, you have already 6 remarketing lists that are created for you. You have all visitors, you have general visitors, you have searchers, which means the people who search your site. You have product or service viewers, people who viewed specific pages on your site. You have conversion abandoners, people who started a conversion or purchase but then didn't complete it. And then you have also past converters, which are people who converted or purchased from you in the past.
Exactly.
Yeah. So once you have checked all these remarketing lists, you pretty much can click on the blue button, Return to Campaign. So as I mentioned, these are the main remarketing lists created, and it's pretty much based on your choice on how much to eventually invest in either remarketing list. You, of course, can implement this on the ad group level. So you can pretty much have one campaign for dynamic remarketing, where you can then eventually separate these remarketing lists into, let's say, 5 different ad groups.
Yeah. And basically, I would just like to add, as you might have seen, so visitors in the different stage of visiting your websites obviously have different meaning for you, like different weight. So somebody who is only on your search-based result doesn't have the same value for you as somebody who had come to your site, looked into some product, specifically, let's say that camera that we've seen before, and then unfortunately abandoned, went out from the cart, meaning that you should, as Harris mentioned, segment and prioritize. Yeah. Exactly, that's really good expression, to prioritize your remarketing lists based on the type, based on the visit that they made on your website, and also put your bid a little bit higher for those who had abandoned your cart or who already made a purchase, and we call them now past purchases. And obviously more bidding goes into those in comparison to the one who are just in the first stage, let's say, looking through your products or services, getting familiarized. And obviously you can definitely optimize bids for different segments, right?
But then,
That's
of
the whole
course,
point.
but then of course you have different businesses with different strategies. So some businesses might say, okay, people which search for results might be more interesting to or might be valued more. So you might decide to actually invest more in these, let's say, ads. But then again, as I said, it all differs from business to business, but it's generally seen as, okay, if you had past converters, it's more likely that they'll come back and make another purchase. So so we can go on further.
Sure. Let's continue.
I think you can tell us more about creating ads.
Yeah. Basically, the creating ads, it's pretty straightforward. Once you're created your campaign and the ad group, you'll be prompted to the ads tab, and from there you can basically click on the ad plus ads from your ads gallery, and then select either dynamic or the standard ads, and basically you have the ability, you have the possibility to create so-called responsive dynamic ads, which are new option for your dynamic ads, and they allow you to have more impact with a greater ease and simplicity I would say. So in these responsive ads, you can adjust their size, the appearance, the format to fit in available ad spaces, and that means that you don't have to create separate images and text ads. Responsive ads can show as both and in standard sizes. So yeah, basically for the very end, we still have a couple of minutes left. We would just like to share with you some best practices and to mention some key factors that can drive performance at scale. So very important factor here in dynamic remarketing, as we already mentioned, is the smart segmentation. We've already spoken about different types of remarketing lists that are being automatically created when you set up your custom feed. Basically, when you add your custom parameter to the website and when the list starts to populate, and also bear in mind that you have to have minimum 100 visitors for the display network in this case in order to start with the advertising. Otherwise, you won't be able to serve your ads. The smart segmentation also, if it's let's say structured and also follow with a smart bidding, as we said before, adjusting your bids to the different segments, different remarketing lists. It's very important. Furthermore, as we mentioned, you can use these creative responsive ads, and you can personalize your ads based on the product that has been visited, or also the top performing product, etc. Behind all of this, it's automated real-time bidding and targeting in our algorithm, which allows you to basically show your ads, custom-made ads to the right people from your remarketing list. And furthermore, you can enjoy the harness of the world's largest advertising network. As we said before, this is Google Display Network. So maybe just to quickly recap and just maybe share with you some tips and tricks. We already mentioned how to set up the campaign, and maybe just as a tip, when you create your remarketing list, you should limit your product abandoners to the 30 days. And also the cart abandoners as well as buyers to be on the remarketing list for pretty much 1 month, so 30 days. And as we already mentioned before, the display network only has to have the drive action, and basically that you're targeting the clients, the visitors who had already visited your website, meaning that the marketing objective here are the visits of your website. Now, depending on the country and on languages, you of course choose this as in any campaign settings. And the ad rotation, once of course you have the conversions, should be set up on the conversion optimizer, and you don't need to put any frequency cap. So maybe some tips regarding the bidding. You can use different flexible bid strategies, and what's very important here, after you generated some 10 to 15, let's say, conversions, It's highly recommended to turn on the enhanced CPC, the feature which enables the system to bid higher plus 30, minus 30% when there is a likelihood of the conversions. And afterwards, within 1 to 2 weeks, you can check your results and see if there is any need for further optimization in the bidding itself. And yeah, obviously, once you start to generated more and more conversions, let's say some 30 plus conversions in 30 days, that's some optimum, let's say, quantity, then you can also turn on your CPA, because most of your marketing objectives are going to the direction of the acquisition of the clients, meaning generating sales. And if you have more than 60 conversions in the last 30 days, and we are hoping for this scenario, we highly recommend you to set your targeted ROIs, or the return on the advertising spent. The budget, of course, it depends on you, but don't be so constrained when it comes to budget, because once you see the results, you can leave the budget open and basically just optimize for the CPA or for the ROIs. And when it comes for the campaign optimization and yet, let's say, so as we mentioned before, you can use all ad sizes and different layouts. You can use optimized templates. Also use different rich media as HTML5 format. And when it comes to the feed quality, the system already gives you some recommendations and basically prompts you to the site where you have instructions once need to be corrected, and also be patient, as you mentioned before, as it takes some 3 business days for your feed to be reviewed once your campaign is active. And otherwise, you can check it every week, or let's say 2 weeks, and check different attributes every 4 weeks, so not so often. We already mentioned some automated bidding options, and I believe if you're working in an agency or if you have your own AdWords account, you're pretty much familiar with the enhanced CPC, the conversion optimizer or CPA, and the conversion optimizer, meaning the targeted ROIs. So basically, enhanced CPC modifies bidding to improve your chance for the conversions, and in the campaigns which you want to meet your CPC goals and to improve your chances of conversions. It's some sort of hybrid when it comes to the bidding management. Furthermore, the conversion optimizer, we already said that you need to have some 30 conversions or minimum 15 conversions in the last month, but obviously it's recommended to have more, so 50 to 100 conversions a month ideally, or some 30 conversions per ad group. And campaigns in which you want to have your automated bidding, there you can still have your control over the targeting. And together with the ROIs, these are the real-time bidding tools. Also for the ROIs, as we mentioned before, it's recommended to have some 80 to 100 conversions a month, so that system can really optimize it for consistently for the leads, for the conversions.
So yeah, this is pretty much, let's say, a summary of the phases and what you need to do in terms of setting up your dynamic remarketing campaigns. So number 1 would be selection of the business type. You would have to choose the business type that fits your client the best. Then you have the auto creation of the feed placeholder. Still, even though the feed was created, you still need to implement all the necessary details about your products. Then you have the retrieval of AdWords remarketing tag. You can retrieve the AdWords remarketing tag or email it to your webmaster, which is highly recommended if you do not have a lot of technical knowledge in terms of adding the tag to your website. You can then create and customize your dynamic ads. You can use the ad gallery to create the dynamic image and text ads. And finally, you have the tag and feed setup. You have to make sure that the remarketing tag is properly implemented and that the product feed is uploaded.
So yeah, that's pretty much it from our side. If you have any questions, please drop us a line. Now we are still available here for you. And maybe just as a rule of thumb, as we mentioned before, make sure that if you're in the Adriatic region, so meaning Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Macedonia, just be very mindful that we don't have the Google Merchant Center yet. Thus, you will need to use the custom feed for your business, unless you have some sort of, we said before, real estate site or hotels, rentals, etc. But from our experience, the most of the businesses of our region are e-commerce pretty much and using the custom feed. Make sure that you retrieve your AdWords tag correctly, as also Harry mentioned before. If you're lacking the technical knowledge, do not hesitate to include your webmaster in this conversation, because if the tag is not placed properly, if the custom parameters are not tagged properly, meaning that you enter all the required parameters next to the recommended, your list won't be populating and your ads won't be serving, which is really a pity if you already put quite some effort into it. Make sure that everything is tagged correctly. What else? What else did we mention? So smart segmentation, different remarketing lists for different. A lot of the campaign creation is already automated, which is good. Exactly. And make sure to segment your visitors, to tailor-made the ads for them, to separate different ad groups. Also, be very creative when it comes to bidding. Try to set up your bids higher for those who already converted or abandoned your shopping cart because they already have some sort of intent and they want to purchase. And of course, once you've generated enough conversions, some 15 a month, or like even more, up to 30, you can enable enhanced CPC to let system optimize or just raise the bids plus minus 30%. And furthermore, once you generate more conversions, use conversion optimizers, so targeted CPA and targeted ROAS.
Sure. And also, we were mentioning Google Analytics and tagging or using the Google Analytics tag. As I said before, we're going to have a volume 2 of how to set up dynamic remarketing. And do we know an exact?
Well, we're still looking for a performance expert, to put it that way, because unfortunately, myself and Harris are also not so technically, let's say, engaged, or we don't have a background to help you, to guide you through the implementation process, because next to the AdWords, there is implementation through the, you mentioned Google Analytics, also Google Tag Manager, and we are just trying to get some experts on board to guide you through the process or to help you really with the implementation itself. But yeah, we don't know the date yet. We'll let you know soon. Sure. And if you have any questions or if you need any more support with this, there's plenty of resources on our help center. And also we hope that this presentation was quite helpful for you, so you can have a better overview and you can visualize it better. And you can always call us, chat to us. Most of you are already.
Also put your questions down, and we will come back to you as soon as possible.
Exactly. So I would like to wrap it up for today because we are a little bit over the time expected. And just to thank you all who tuned in, and we would really, really appreciate your feedback, just to let us know if this kind of content makes sense for you, and if you want us to continue with similar topics, or if you have any proposals, ideas.
That would be great.
You know, what's still unclear for you, just let us know, and we'll try to prepare the content to help you out with this. You want to add something?
No, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We're gonna go back to work and
maybe enjoy some sunny because it was sunny before here in Dublin. So let's see.
True. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have a good day. Ciao.
Ciao.